For that, we need to understand a little bit about the brain. The brain and the nervous system. So in the most simple way I can put it, I like to think about the brain as having two parts. Here in the back of the brain, where the brain connects to the brain stem and down the spinal cord, we have the old brain. It has a lot of names. Some people call it the lizard brain. Some people call it the limbic brain. Some people call it the dinosaur brain because it's old. And what that brain, particularly one piece of it called the amygdala, what that part of the brain is very, very good at is being afraid. Wow, it's an expert at that. And when it gets scared, which it does all the time, it sounds the alarm. Bang, bang, bang. Super, super loud. Sometimes it can sound that alarm so loudly that we experience what has only recently been coined, this phrase, the amygdala hijack. We can experience an amygdala hijack. You're all familiar with one example of it, like you're cooking and you accidentally touch something that's really hot on the stove, like touch the handle of a cast iron pan. Your amygdala and the rest of that limbic brain, the rest of that old lizard brain, fires. Bam! We're on fire! We may die! This is terrible, right? Boom! It sounds that alarm so loudly, so powerfully, so persuasively, that we experience an amygdala hijack and we pull our finger back from that hot pan before a single thought has crossed our minds. It's a reflex. It's a reflex. So it's not altogether bad, this part of the brain. I don't want to make any enemy of it, but we need to understand how this all works. The front of the brain, on the other hand, the prefrontal cortex, the executive actor, also has a lot of names. I like to just call it the thinking brain. So we got the brain that's good at being afraid, the fearing brain back here, and up front here we've got the thinking brain. We've got the thinking brain. That's the one that's making decisions, that's parsing things out, that's softening the fear, that's hearing the noise, and the fear-based brain is like, oh my God, saber-toothed tiger! We're being attacked! And the thinking brain is the one that steps in and says, no, Dave, it's Wednesday. That's the garbage and recycling being picked up, and there is no need for panic right now. You may proceed. Right? And so this is what's happening, right? This is our experience. Our experience is these two parts of the brain working in concert, and sometimes not. And sometimes not. Sometimes we think so much that we don't pay attention enough to the animal part of our brain. The animal part of my brain, the old-fashioned brain, is never going to tell me to work 80 hours a week so I can buy more stuff. But my executive actor will. Right? My thinking brain will tell me all kinds of stories about how I should abandon myself now for wonderful things in the future. How self-care is not important in this instance. Right? The executive brain will do a lot of that kind of thinking too. And that's where the limbic brain has to come in and shut us down. Shut us down. You ever have one of those days when you're working for too many days, too hard and too many hours, and you just have that day where you can't do anything? You have that day where you experience like a touch of burnout, like a day's worth of burnout, where you just feel you have no energy, you can't think clearly, everything seems so hard, right? That's our body. In part, that's this old part of the brain just stepping in, being like, hey buddy, I don't care about these ideas you have, how much you're going to get accomplished this week. You haven't taken a day off. You haven't gone for a bike ride in too long. You got to shut it down. Got to shut it down. So, coming back to self-awareness and the practice of mindfulness as a concentration practice. When scientists nowadays put a scan, it's called an fMRI scan, it scans blood and electrical flow in the brain in real time. When they put that kind of a scan on people's brains, and then they give them something to concentrate on, whether it's the body like we were just doing, whether it's the breath, it doesn't really matter. We found it doesn't really matter. Right? We give them something to concentrate on. What we see looking at those scans is that the front of the brain, the thinker, and the fearer start communicating. The communication channels between those two parts of the brain light up in the fMRI scan when the meditator concentrates. And so at its most basic level, this is what we're doing. We are training ourselves to be able to come to a place of concentration and therefore be using our whole brain, be being a real human being in any given moment. We can't stay there all the time, just like I can't hold the heavy weight up all the time. I have to put it down sometimes. But we can train ourselves over time to have a lot of capacity to be in that concentrated state throughout the day.